This new year, why not let Audible expand your life by listening? Explore over 1 million audiobooks, podcasts, and exclusive Audible originals that'll inspire and motivate you. Tap into your well-being with advice and insight from leading professionals and experts on better health, relationships, career, finance, investing, and more. Maybe you want to kick a bad habit or start a good one. If you're interested in learning how to master your emotions and hearing scientifically backed advice for using your emotions as a tool, may I suggest Shift by psychologist and bestseller author Dr. Ethan Kross? Trust me, listening on Audible can help you reach the goals you set for yourself. Start listening today when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Don't miss Good American Family.
We have a little girl here for adoption.
She has dwarfism.
Starring Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass.
Something is off.
She's just a little girl. You think she's faking?
She has adult teeth. There are signs of puberty.
Inspired by the shocking stories that tore a family apart.
I don't know what's going on.
How old are you?
You should get a lawyer.
You have no idea how those people hurt this girl.
The Hulu original series, Good American Family, premieres March 19th, streaming on Hulu.
Better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. I'll have what she's having.
Todd, I started recording immediately because I got to talk to you about this movie right fucking now. I cannot wait another second to talk about this movie.
Paige, I am also now recording. Please continue.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige made us watch Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married To? And that's 2 TOO because, you know, it's doing the most. Paige, was this the first time you saw Janet Jackson murder her husband so she didn't have to pay him $400,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
My first time too.
Yes, this was the first time I saw a movie start stories for 2 hours and then end all of them in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
What the fuck did we just watch?
I don't know, Paige.
Oh
I can't believe you had us watch a movie that's premise was literally the opposite of the movies we do for this show.
Okay. So for those of you listening, I literally finished this movie 2 seconds ago.
Same. I mean, I finished it right before that.
I put down my phone from texting Todd, what the fuck, like 8 times in a row, and then started recording this episode.
And I said, save it for the podcast. But yes, you're right.
So, okay, here's the thing. I do think this is the crazy Tyler Perry movie I was wanting because I Could Do Bad All By Myself was too rational. This one is nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has and I don't know if it's like when he has other people working with him on it, that there's somebody to like rein him in, like, you know, auteurs need an editor, but...
Did you say authors need an editor?
Auteurs, people who write and film and direct their own stuff. Auteurs.
God.
It's a word. I promise.
We already have names for all of those things. Does it have to be pretentious too? Okay, whatever. Let's move on.
No, it's just, yeah, it's for somebody that does all of it on one project. Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, I don't know if it's because there's not someone telling him no.
Please don't ever tell him no. Because then I won't get a movie where I just beg Tyler Perry for the rest of my life to give me an Angela soundboard.
Oh my God.
Like, she says nothing rational in this movie, and I love everything she says because it's insane.
This movie reminds me of the way that Temptation: Confessions of a Marriage Counselor is bonkers.
Oh, a movie that pretty much just ends with boom, you got AIDS.
Yeah, basically. But it reminds me of that in the sense that, like, the movie solves what it thinks are the problems while completely ignoring glaring, obvious problems that are actually the problems.
Yeah.
And that is bonkers to me. It's absolutely bonkers because, and I want to say that there was some of this in the last one too, obviously. But like, it was glaring in this movie where I was like, okay, this is what Tyler Perry thinks the problems are. But like a rational human sees what's happening on the screen and is like, hold on. There's way bigger problems afoot. And Todd, a character gets cancer with 5 minutes to go in the movie. What the fuck?
Paige.
That's not even act 3. That's act like 3.5.
Janet Jackson murders her husband. And you're talking about the guy that got cancer? The guy I didn't even want to be in the movie to begin with?
Same. But also, oh my God, when they're stomping out through the streets and I was like, oh, Regina George. He's going to get Regina Georged. I can see it. And then it happened. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Is that what's happening in the movie? And then the movie kept going.
Also, Paige, can I just say this? As a car crash, let's just say expert, at least of the two of us on the show, he would have got out of that car, dusted himself off, and tried again. Like, he would have been fine. That truck was going 22 miles an hour tops, hit him passenger side. He would have looked up and been like, oh shit, I guess I got hit. Wow. But no, he died. Like, Janet Jackson murdered him so she didn't have to pay him the money that she was legally required to as a part of their divorce. It saved her $400,000 and she got to fuck, I don't know, The Rock the rest of her life, which honestly, good for her. But she killed him because he wanted money that he was legally entitled to. I get that maybe it wasn't like the best like thing.
It's a shitty thing to do.
I get it. But like legally, that's his money. And so, like, don't kill him, Janet.
Depending on which state you're in, it's his money. Depending on the state, especially if she had an LLC. There's a whole lot of things that go into that. But
it doesn't say anything about them having a business account and that money being in the business account. They have a joint account that has $800,000 in it from like money she made from her book. I'm not going to litigate it with you. He'd be entitled to that money. It does vary state to state, but he'd be entitled to it. Like, I got why that was an area of contention, because like if I had written a book towards the end of my marriage and that person had nothing to do with it, which is very much the way it seems.
Yes.
I mean, he does claim a little bit later, but I mean, it doesn't seem like he helped her at all, really. And so, like, I'd be pissed too. I get it. But I wouldn't kill my husband.
Right.
Like, she murders him in this movie. And then for that, the punishment, and listen, I think she got punished pretty hard because she got to have sex with The Rock for the rest of her life. Are you serious? You're going to pay a lady $400,000 extra on top of the $400,000 she already has and give her The Rock dick? Like, Paige, this, I think, was written by Janet Jackson.
Well, here's what I will say. I did question that car accident because the car didn't spin. Like, it hit him passenger side and the car dead stops. Like, it doesn't push the car. It doesn't anything. And I'm like, what? So it is weird.
Paige, hang on. Let me say something. I got to get it out.
Okay.
And I ate a Thin Mint. I fucked up. Hang on. Cut this, babe.
It's fine.
I got chocolatey cheeks and they're delicious.
Oh my God, Thin Mint.
Paige, the car wouldn't have been totaled. There's no way his body was totaled. Like, he would have been fine.
I agree.
They would have taken that to a body shop and been like, oh, we probably can just get you a new door. Pick up your mic, Paige.
I'm sorry, I pulled a Mikey.
Paige is on the road this week, so she's in a hotel. Forgive her, guys.
I'm in a hotel having to hold my mic. I did think that it was hysterical, that it was a giant 18-wheeler. Like Tyler Perry watched Pet Sematary before he made this movie and was like, I got it.
Oh, I can't wait to Pet Sematary a dude for daring to go after what was his.
Hold on. I will say, though, that man straight up physically abuses her.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. But that only happens once in the movie. So, like, I was writing in my notes, like, oh, I think technically he'd be, like, legally entitled to that money. So I wonder how this plays out. And then he like, physically assaults her.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he's a terrible dude. So he's definitely not going to get it. So, like, that's fine. But that's the first time you see it. Up until that point, he just seems like he was sad that Janet Jackson told everyone they were getting divorced and is sad about the divorce, but like he didn't seem like straight up abusive, you know? But he was. He is like 100%.
He did.
Yeah.
From what we saw in the last movie and what we see up until that point, you're right. That it has not been a part of the story. But hey, much like Cold Stone Creamery, Tyler Perry's screenwriting style just kind of sprinkles extras in.
Sorry, now all I am is just picturing Tyler Perry behind the glass at a Cold Stone Creamery, but instead of mixing in like Reese's Pieces and shit, he's mixing in like cancer and car wreck and like an Angela soundboard. Like that's all this movie is.
God.
And honestly, delicious.
Angela and Marcus, I love them both so much.
Wait, it would be Tyler Perry as Medea, obviously. We all knew that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but with a Cold Stone uniform, and then if you tip her, she's like, I ain't singing. Amazing.
Daddy in the back like, she'll do it too.
Yes, she's got knives. So, okay, in the last movie, Mike is terrible and absolutely emotionally abusive.
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being a component of physical abuse, although in this movie, we definitely find out that Sheila was being physically abused in the home.
Yes.
100%.
I don't think that is revealed in the first movie, but if it is, we forgot it. But yeah, it definitely is in this one though. It was definitely both.
And so when they just let Mike like hang out, I was like, I'm sorry, you're letting your villain friend stay and hang out. Like, I know it's hard to get him to leave. Like, they create real reasons why it would be hard to get him to go. But like, I'm like, y'all are just going to be cool with him being there. And then later when they're like, I mean, Gavin's breaking and entering and that's troubling, but like, oh, well, that's Gavin. I'm like, y'all, women are being physically abused left and right in this movie, and y'all don't give a fuck. And at the end of the movie, Tyler Perry's like, it's good that we're all staying together. I'm like, is it? Is it good?
That was the saddest twist of the whole movie, was that they're all still married, except for,
Troy and Sheila. I root for them the whole time, no matter what.
Yeah, I love Troy and Sheila, but I meant like Janet Jackson and Gavin. Like, they're not together because she killed him and, eventually lured in the rock slowly over the course of a year.
But it implies that if Gavin had lived, they would have been together. And I'm like, girl, you ain't safe in that house.
I don't think they would have been together. I mean, they were already entering the divorce proceedings. Like, I think that would have continued.
Yes, but in the waiting room, she's like, he could have anything, cancel the divorce. I don't care. I just don't want him to die, which too late, girl. But like,
yeah, you should have thought of that before you hired the most top cake topper I've ever seen. Probably bottom, actually, but you know what I'm saying? Like way over the top cake topper.
Oh, that was wild too, because I was like, is he closeted? Was that part of the relationship thing? Because the movie doesn't cover that at all. And so I'm like, so is she just trying to start that rumor at his office? Or is she outing him? Both versions of it are bad, and this is a wild choice to include.
Paige, all she wanted to do was create a scene to get him to drive away so the man she paid $100 to in the 18-wheeler could kill her husband.
The trucksecutioner, yeah.
Oh my God, it was trucksecutioner. Son of a bitch, Gavin! I'll avenge you! While avenging my brother.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to avenge Gavin.
But he'll get his vengeance too when I kill my brother's murderer, trucksecutioner.
There you go. That's fair. Two birds, one stone.
Right.
Yeah, this movie, okay. Do you remember in The Office when Michael Scott takes improv classes and they're trying to teach him the improv rule of violence always ends a scene? If you've never done any improv, you might not know this rule. But in sketch comedy, escalation is the key to creating laughs because you're subverting expectations and heightening the stakes. You always want to try and do that. But there's a limit to what you can do. At a certain point, if you bring violence into a sketch and you can't resolve it, the sketch ends no matter what because the audience gets too uncomfortable. So like in The Office, Michael Scott always has a fake gun on him that he just pulls in the middle of scenes, which there's a part of me that would love to just go to an improv class and do that because chaos. But that's what this movie is like scenes are just going along normally and then somebody pulls a gun.
Yes, and Angela does a drive-by on her own bedroom, Paige.
But okay, here's the best part about it though. She walks up the stairs with a butcher knife and then trades it for a gun like she's in a video game and is just leveling up her weapon.
Press X to exchange weapon, Paige. And that's what you do. Like if you're like, okay, I can get a knife because I'm next to the kitchen. I got a knife.
Right.
But my gun is in my purse upstairs. If I make it upstairs alive with the knife, I'm trading it out for the gun.
I'm trading it out for the gun.
Yeah.
And then I'm maxing out the power. Oh my God. I've been playing the new Ratchet and Clank because we finally got a PS5.
How dare you? In a movie with Angela, you're going to bring up Ratchet? Really? Rude.
Ratchet and Clank. And I'm almost done with it. And I have maxed out every single weapon. I am just an unstoppable war god in this game for children.
An unstoppable war god in this game for children.
I love it so much.
I'm going to start like making t-shirts that's just a picture of Paige Wesley that says, I am an unstoppable god in this game for children.
War god specifically. I'm an unstoppable war god in this game for children.
Didn't mean to offend you, Mrs. Mars.
Thank you. More blood, more titties.
Wrong podcast.
But yeah, it's and people make such the wrong decisions where I'm like, there's no way as a full grown adult, you do not see how this could go badly. And they waste an hour and a half of screen time. The pacing of this movie is insane because like the conceit of the first movie was that they went on that trip and most of the stuff happens on the trip. And then there's a little bit of an epilogue, right? This movie, the trip is the first half of the movie. The first hour is the trip. Fuck all happens on that trip. We get little like breadcrumbs of information and Mike shows up, but really we got fucking nothing.
We got Chappie and his wife. Come on now. We got Chappie.
That's true.
Louis Gossett Jr., if you guys don't know who Chappie is, sorry.
Louis Gossett Jr., yes. We got then the last, like another half an hour of like, what's going on? Who's breaking up? What's going on? Who's breaking up? And then we have a half hour of 4 movies worth of plot points.
Yeah.
In 1.5 hour.
It's just Medea back behind there, just smushing in the Cold Stone Creamery bits. Just the cancer, the car accident.
Infidelity, abuse, dead children, all of it. Todd, I know I said this already since we've been recording, but it bears repeating. They introduce the idea that a character has fucking cancer 5 minutes before the end of the film.
Yeah.
And that character lives. I thought for sure they were going to fake us out at that funeral. It was going to be Mike's funeral and Gavin would have survived. And I was like, I still don't like that ending.
Yeah, because Gavin would have survived.
Right.
The only other explanation is that Gavin faked his death because he was sick of it and just wanted to get away from life.
I mean.
Because he's dead. Gavin's dead. Janet Jackson murdered Gavin. Some might call it self-defense. That's fine.
That's fine. Do you think his urn was glass like everything else in the house? When she gets going, with that golf club, I was like, how much glass is in this one house? I have a wall of Pyrex and I think I'd be done with the golf club in a minute or two. Like, how much glass does she have?
I mean, Paige, you know that old adage they say people in glass houses shouldn't cheat on their wife, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was right around that time, too. Like, it was Thanksgiving 2009 when Tiger Woods got attacked with a golf club by his wife.
I bet that's why there's golf clubs in this movie.
The rumor was that Janet Jackson worked with her same personal trainer who trained Tiger Woods' wife to get her into shape to help with hitting Tiger Woods. So she was like, get me the guy who worked with Tiger Woods' wife.
Yeah, Elin. I don't know why I remember that lady's name.
She is, I think, Norwegian, and her last name, it was a weird name. Yeah, and by weird, I mean like foreign to me.
I'm almost like 110% sure it's Elin Nordegren. And I only remember because John Mulaney has that joke about like like Elin said, beat it, bozo. No, she did not.
Yeah. It's funny how jokes like that can keep a bit of pop culture like more relevant a little bit longer because it's that joke that made me remember that happened. And that was right around this time, right? You know, because anyway, that's funny that happens that way.
That is funny. Let's just get into it and talk about this movie because there's so much to get through.
Yeah, there's honestly tons, but it probably will go quickly because it's like also not much.
I mean, I feel like we're going to have a lot of discussion points and a lot of things to scream about.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it. So we open on Tyler Perry and his wife, and they have a kid now, and a second kid. They had a kid in the first one.
Right.
And the debate was whether or not to have a second kid. She had her tubal ligation reversed, which I didn't know you could do. So I guess I learned something today. And then they had a second kid.
I believe you can, but it's way less successful than like a reversed vasectomy.
I know you can reverse vasectomies. Yeah.
And it's not like it's 100% success rate even with like reversing vasectomies, but you can do it. I think it's a little bit more successful normally if you reverse a vasectomy than a tubal ligation. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I had it happen to a friend of mine, and they sort of talked about all of this.
Interesting.
Before he decided to get a vasectomy. He was like, oh, okay. And that was like one of the reasons. He was like, oh, well, if we ever change our mind, it's easier for me. And it's also like, it's a way easier procedure. Like, it's just, anyway, there's a lot of reasons that it's a better option.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. We're on the jelly where we just sit and eat jelly and then cuddle.
I mean, if you guys are into it, great.
I don't know if it's stopping babies, but it is pleasant.
Actually, if you guys are into it, grape.
Grape. But everyone is noticing Tyler Perry's wife and saying that she's glowing.
Right.
And at first I was like, is she pregnant? Is she going to have another baby? Because everyone's talking about it. But this is the scene where we have what I called exposition child.
Yeah.
Where their daughter is basically like, yes, because you're going on your trip with all of your marriage friends because no one wants to get a divorce. Divorce is what? And I was like, okay, what? I was like, who didn't slap the typewriter out of Tyler Perry's hands?
I know,
because
right?
this is the most ham-fisted thing in this movie. Like, none of this needs to be explained to us. We're adults watching this film.
I get that this is a sequel page, and I did not know any character's name coming into this. So when she, like, the daughter was like saying, and Uncle Mike and this, and I was like, who the fuck are these people even? Like, I don't know any of these people. So this is not helpful exposition to me at all at this point, because you've not established any of these characters in this movie.
Right? Hear me out. Here's what I needed, because there are scenes in the first hour of this movie that are ripped from a Lachey program on the Netflix.
Paige, are you watching season 8 of Love is Blind?
Absolutely not. You know I don't watch Love is Blind because they don't like fat people.
Paige, it's truly terrible. Don't watch it.
I did see a picture of all the men and I was like, that's the same picture. They're all the same.
It's funny because it looks like you mushed all of them together and made one man, but they all look a little different.
Yes. Like you gave all the same pictures to AI and it spat out 5 new ones from those same pictures.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. Like straight out of a Real Housewives Bravo whatever is an introduction carousel of like, hi, I'm Sheila and I've got a new man on the town. Like just like one sentence to help me remember the last movie, or just a bottom third chyron that's like Sheila getting over Mike, like underneath, like better and loving it, like whatever it is. Angela, always loud. Great. Now I know all of that I needed to know.
Literally. Angela, one note. Like she's always that loud, like character.
Angela at an 11. But here's the thing. I love Tasha Smith in everything she does.
She's great in this movie. Yeah, I mean, her character's hilarious, but also, I think, like, terrible. And she should be in jail. Like, she shot off like a lot of rounds towards people in a bed and then down the hall as they left.
Yeah. Oh,
these are her employees also. Like one of them is her maid, and I think the other one worked there too. Didn't he like clean the pool or whatever?
It was her gardener.
Gardener, that's what it was.
Yeah, who's her gardener. And that is attempted murder with a deadly weapon.
Right?
This carries real charges. Here's what I missed from the last movie to this movie.
Just like she did with those bullets, Paige. But please tell me.
Missed it. The last movie, because she and Marcus do argue all the time, but the last movie gave Michael Jai White so many more bars, like just incredible, like line drops. Like she got hers in this movie. She says hysterical things. He was toe to toe with her in the last movie. And this movie, he doesn't get quite as many. And I always love him in movies. And so I was kind of bummed that I felt like they kind of just put him in the backseat on this movie a little bit. He says a couple funny things, but because they really are meant to be the comic relief of the movie. They never get better. But despite him having a serious infidelity problem continuing, that's why the second phone exists.
Right.
But also, she has a serious substance abuse problem with alcohol.
Oh, she's drunk the entire movie. Like, yeah.
Which was a thing that they brought up in the last movie. And so, like, that's what I mean when I say this movie fixes all the wrong problems.
Yeah.
It's because they completely ignore the physical abuse that people are going through. Every once in a while, someone's like, should you be drinking that? But that's as far as they go.
I mean, we only see the physical abuse once by Gavin.
Yeah.
We know Sheila had physical abuse happen to her years and years ago. It's not currently happening.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, because she left Mike.
But they're all still totally willing to be friends with Mike, which, by the way, if I ever found out that a close friend of mine had physically abused somebody, we ain't friends no more, buddy.
Right?
And I don't feel like I should have to explain to you why. Like, that's
Also, if all of my ex-wife's like friends and her husband now are going to a place, I'm not gonna go there. I don't care if I have a timeshare.
Here's the thing. The timeshare excuse is bullshit.
Of course.
Let's get into it, because they're all flying to the timeshare.
Yeah.
They meet up with Angela and Marcus at the airport. They're arguing. The scene with her, I do love that, like, Marcus and Terry go to talk to the lady at the airport counter, like the gate agent.
Yeah, because their flight's delayed. So it's like they go to the like ticket counter to talk to the lady there. Yeah.
Right. And she recognizes Marcus from Sports Shuffle.
Yeah, because he's on TV. He does like sports commentating.
Yeah, because he used to play football.
Right. Yeah, and all of his metaphors in real life are 100% football metaphors. And I think there's like a running gag that he doesn't understand baseball metaphors.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
There's 2 sports metaphor gags, which as someone who is bad, I don't sport. It's not my thing. But even I got the jokes that I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't understand baseball metaphors at all. Hilarious. B, she doesn't understand sports metaphors, period. So hers are consistently wrong, but sound right. Where it's like she wins on the pun level of like, she's mixing sports, she's mixing metaphors, but from a pun and joke writing standpoint, it's completely sound.
Yeah.
Anyway, the gate agent recognizes him from Sports Shuffle, and Angela sees it. And I do love that she doesn't get mad at the girl.
She makes a big ass scene though.
She makes a big ass scene, but is not like, how dare you, bitch. She's like, oh no, come over here. Get this hoe's number.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God.
She does make it her husband's problem for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Because this is the thing. I make a point. I mean, I'm married, so this doesn't really matter. But even when I was single, I make a point not to mess with other people's significant others. I find it to be unkind.
Yeah, of course.
It's a little distasteful.
It's also, who wants that much drama in their life? Like, yeah, like
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that the reality of the situation is the gate agent girl is not in a relationship with anybody. She is not promised anybody any sort of fidelity.
We don't know that.
Well, but as far as what we see on the screen,
yeah,
she's not a part of Angela and Marcus's relationship is what I mean.
At all.
Marcus is the one who the burden of, hey, I'm going to say no or whatever falls on, because he's the one in a relationship.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, yeah. But so I did find it very funny that she kind of makes it his problem. We then cut to Troy and Sheila arrive at this beach house. Now, this is a gorgeous timeshare in the Bahamas.
I mean, this vacation looks amazing, though. Like, that beach house
looks incredible.
Is gorgeous, man. Like, I would love that.
Anyway, everyone has arrived. But in the process, we find out that Troy has not been able to find a job, and they basically spent most of what they had to come to this trip.
Right. She says we spent our last to be here.
Yeah, spent our last to be here. It's also implied that everybody has been paying into this timeshare. So they like co-own it.
That's what I got. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. Because they're all there. The guys are out doing jet skis. The girls are all hanging out. Everyone is still like, oh, you're glowing. What's happening? And she's like, nothing.
Yeah, I'm getting my fill. Anyway, spoiler alert, she's having an affair. That's why she's glowing.
Yeah. She's like 9 months into it. Spoiler though, who should show up but Mike? And I'm like, no.
I don't even understand why Mike wants to go. And I understand at this point in hindsight, he's got cancer and wants to reconnect with his ex-wife. But I wouldn't want to reconnect with my ex-wife while she's on a bang vacation with her husband and their friends.
Well, and remember from the last movie, this is a bang vacation where they all go and they all have sex one wall away from each other.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition. But the reason they give for why they won't like make him leave or whatever is that he owns part of the timeshare, so they can't kick him out, which I guess is technically true.
That probably is technically true, I would assume. I have no idea.
I think the movie wants us to think that because he has cancer, he's setting his shit in order, and we just don't know he has cancer yet. 'Cause spoiler, the movie doesn't tell you until like 5 minutes before the end of the movie. And I think that's what it's supposed to be, is that he's like, cancer has made me reevaluate my life, and so I'm trying to make things right, which I'm just here to tell you, I have known many people who have had and beaten and even lost the battle with cancer. And cancer doesn't just make you a good person. You know, you kind of have to choose what to do with your life with that news. And some people choose to be dicks. And some people choose to reevaluate their life. So I think that's what they were trying to go for. But because we don't know about it until later, we just think he's a bad person for most of the movie.
Paige, I don't think Tyler Perry knew about it until later when he was writing it. I think he was just like, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the movie, I'll spin my patented Tyler Perry's wheel of trauma and see what it lands on and then give the character that.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be fun from a screenwriting perspective of a script where you just spin a wheel of trauma and just give it to, you spin a character wheel and a trauma wheel. And then whatever it lands on, that's how the next scene goes.
All right, let's see. We got Kyle the baby. Weird. What a weird name for a baby. And then the trauma, we've got...
eating disorder. All right. Coming up next, we've got Sheila. And then mauled by coyotes. Like, it's just, what?
Who saw that coming?
No, it couldn't have. Anyway, so... that first night ends.
Can I point something out really quick?
Yes.
On the first day, they're there in the Bahamas. They're on the beach talking, and it's just the guys. And the jet skis are like fully ass pulled up onto the beach.
Uh-huh.
And I'll say this. I get that tides roll in and out.
Sure.
The way they're playing it is that they are taking a break from riding jet skis and will soon again be riding jet skis, right?
Okay.
So like, it's not a matter of the tide, don't come at me.
Okay.
It's hilarious because those jet skis are so beached, they would have had to hit the beach at like 60 miles an hour to get them to slide all the way up to where they are. And there's no way, like, they're pretty heavy. You could carry them, I guess, but you wouldn't, like, it's so funny to me that they're just like pretending they were jet skiing.
I have only ever been on a jet ski once.
Oh, you've never experienced true happiness more than once, Paige?
Hey, honestly, I fucking loved it, man.
Of course you did. I've never been so free, Paige.
Oh my God. And watching this, I was like, man, I got to jet ski again. Like, I literally thought about it. But when I did it, they were already like out in the water. Like, they took you out to the jet skis because they were already in the ocean.
Well, all you'd have to do if you want to get them to where they were in this movie is hit the beach at 60 miles an hour. Like, it's crazy to me that they're like, all right, I'm going to go jet ski. And you see one guy, like, I think it's Mike, throws on a life jacket and like walks over to the jet skis like he's going to like, like throw one into the water. They're not like a balloon.
And he's going to go jet ski alone. Alone, Todd. Can you think of anything sadder? Jet skiing by yourself?
Just Mike out there knowing he fucked his whole life up, struggling with cancer.
Yep.
Single tear drying on his cheek as he drives 60 miles an hour on the ocean without glasses. And so he's just like crying, but you'll never know.
Yes.
You'll never know.
Yep.
Catches a seagull in the face.
Meanwhile, back at the villa.
Right. It's not a villa, Page. It's a beach house. Beach houses are bigger.
It's a beach house.
Sorry, I'm saying it that way because that's like a line of dialogue in the movie as someone corrects Angela and then I think gets knifed.
Yeah, well, because she called it a cabana instead of a beach house.
Right.
But meanwhile, back at the villa, Troy and Sheila will never financially recover from this.
I'll say this about Troy's like life. I have done the move across the country for someone you love and be unemployed for a bit. It is one of the saddest times I've ever had in my life. It's hard. It sucks to like not be able to get a job. It's rough, man.
I feel like their problems are the most realistic and empathetic in the movie.
Yeah.
And they actually talk about them together. Does he go fucking wild at the end of the movie? Yeah. And we'll talk about it when we get there, but that's the trauma wheel happening.
Right.
But until that point, I understood his frustration.
Yeah.
I understood where she was coming from as like, hey, I don't care about these material things. I care about us. But it's like, yeah, but this is still something he wants to do and wants to be able to do. And it's making him feel inadequate. Like all of that and all of them talking of like, I just need you to talk to me about it because we're a team. Like, we're in this together. All felt very real and grounded and is the best part of the movie.
I agree.
And their relationship up until the wheel of trauma in the last 5 minutes of the film is the strongest for me.
They're the only ones I still want to be together at the end of the movie, honestly.
Yeah, for real. But I understand their story. I understand where they're coming from. And I'm rooting for them the whole time. Because, like, I feel like they're both fighting to be together and make it work together. But they're fighting side to side and back to back, not against each other.
Right.
And that's very important. And it's one of the few times that the movie displays what I would call healthier relationship dynamics. I know that the movie is trying to kind of throw some wrenches and stuff and see how people solve it. That's like the whole point of the movie. But they are the one that I think is the most successful in truly fighting for each other. They make some bad choices along the way, but every choice feels understandable and earned, and their reactions feel real, and all of their conversations feel grounded. They're like the one, it's almost like, I feel like Tyler Perry wrote that one and then was like, well, what do I do with the rest of them? All right, trauma wheel, don't let me down.
I know. Let me get down my wheel of trauma.
Anyway, so he doesn't like that her friends know that they're financially struggling.
Yeah, he's like ashamed of it.
He's ashamed of it, and he doesn't want Mike to know.
Yeah.
So we cut to the next day, and Mike goes fishing with the boys, and Troy doesn't come with them. And I really felt kind of a way about this. And this could also be a gender dynamic thing, because I know male friendships can be different. But if I had been originally invited on a trip and somebody showed up uninvited and then the group did an activity with that person without me, I'd be pissed.
Paige, so I know that Mike and the other guys, they've all been friends since college at least.
Yep.
So like their ties run way deeper. If I was there and, you know, I was with, I don't know, let's just say Janet Jackson.
Sure.
Because clearly I'm going to get murdered at the end of this movie by her. And that happened, I'd be like, Mike, you can't come to any of the events we have planned outside of this.
Yes.
Like, you may be able to stay under the same roof, but we're on vacation. You're on vacation. We're not here together.
Right.
So yeah, if Mike was like, I'm going to go, and whoever like chartered the boat was like, I'm going to let him go, I'd be like, cool, I'm going to hang with my new friend, Troy.
Yeah.
And just be like, because that's shitty, man. I know that
It's
pissed
so
me off
shitty.
too. I felt really bad for Troy.
They do it to Troy multiple times in the movie where they just exclude him.
Right. And I get that their collegiate ties with Mike go way deeper than their year-long relationship with Troy, but like that's part of this trip too. It's like, you know, this is Sheila's new husband. She has a child with him. He's not going away. Let's really get to know Troy. Like, he's going to be around a while.
And y'all watched through the last movie as your friend treated his wife like fucking shit.
Well, and your friend who's like here, right?
Yes.
Your friend who you're forsaking her new husbands to hang out with. Yeah, I was pissed about it too. I'm glad you felt that way.
Hated
like,
it.
I get the argument that like they're old friends from a long time ago. Cool.
Fuck
great.
that.
He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
I don't care that he has cancer or whatever.
And the trauma wheel says,
can it be cancer?
Sarcoidosis.
Oh, swing and a miss.
Yeah, I really hated that. And in part, like, here's the thing. I still hang out with my friends from college on a regular basis. We have a group chat active. We have then since added people that we have met later on. We haven't known them as long, but they're invited. And if we were at something where a person we, I guess, had been friends with showed up and we knew them from longer, we wouldn't exclude our new friend for that. Like it felt real fucking gross. And they do it to him multiple times. And to me, it felt like it was just a demonstration that the male characters in this movie do not really give a fuck what the women in this movie think.
Right.
Or feel.
Especially when we find out that Mike's the reason he can't get a job.
Yes, I had that thought too, that it wasn't just that Mike spoke up for him. It's that Mike actively was preventing him from getting a job.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know that that's said on the screen because they try and use that like Mike's such a good guy because he talked to the police chief or whatever. Because Mike is a lawyer. It makes sense that he might know like people in the upper levels of police.
Yeah.
Especially if he works with the prosecution side, right?
Right.
Like that made sense to me. But it also made sense that the reason he was struggling to get a job is because Mike was like, hey, don't you fucking hire my ex-wife's husband.
I don't even think Mike had to say it. I think this is a thin blue line issue.
Oh, it could be. It 100% could be.
Of like, they know who his wife is and they're just doing it. They're just actively avoiding hiring him until Mike says something. And then they're like, all right,
yeah,
maybe. But yeah, I got the impression that he was part of the reason why they couldn't get that job.
Right. Because, and this is terrible to say, but it's true. Like a lot of terrible cops do terrible things and get fired from one like district.
Yes.
And they drive 30 minutes down the road and get hired almost immediately at another one.
Yeah.
Because like it's honestly not super difficult, apparently. Although if you move from state to state, I did a little bit of research. There are like things you have to pass. You have to get like recertified. And that can take 1 to 3 months. But that's like.
Well, there's also a lot of places of hiring shortages.
Sure.
That's why.
Sure.
Because people need people.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if we will recall from the last movie, this man, Mike, not only actively cheated on his wife, who has also been their friend since college, by the way, brought his fucking mistress to their retreat in front of his wife.
I forgot he brought her.
His wife, who he made drive alone to the retreat because she got kicked off the airplane for being a person of size. And then he repeatedly emotionally tortures this poor woman. And then he leaves her in fucking Colorado with fucking nothing. No money, nothing.
He left her with a very hunky man that she convinced to marry her. But
good for her. Glad for that.
He did leave her with nothing.
He abandoned her in a place far from her home with no way to even get home.
Right.
And so I'm like, so that's the man you're going to treasure a friendship with? That's the person you're going to bring in?
It's insane to me that they would ever like even hang out with him again.
Even speak to him again.
Let alone choose him over Troy. Yeah, I agree, Paige.
Yeah. And the fact they do it repeatedly was bonkers. Anyway,
right.
The girls kind of go through their trip. And honestly, the first hour of this movie, not a ton happens. Like people kind of talk through their problems. Like Angela's really mad and she wants Marcus's cell phone password.
Yeah.
Which I do love that what Janet Jackson's book said was, I don't need his password because I trust him.
Right.
And Angela took that to mean, I need that password.
Right, because she doesn't trust him.
She doesn't trust him. She's working through the trust acronym, and it was like, T stands for give me that password. R stands for I still need that fucking password. Like, just.
I thought that shit was very funny, yeah.
Very funny, which I am in the Janet Jackson camp of, Jake just got a new phone, so I don't know his new password. But we also repeatedly, constantly, he definitely knows my password. Just hand each other's phones to each other at any given time to like, yeah, can you order the Postmates or whatever?
Yeah.
All the time.
I've told Natalie my password many times, just mainly out of convenience. So like, if she ever needed to use my phone, she could.
Right.
Like, I don't give a shit. Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I ain't got anything on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake absolutely knows my password. And here's the thing. It's like, because I thought about this movie, made me think about it. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I know the password to his new phone. And then I had a moment where I was like, do I care? And I was like, no.
And you know what the thing is? You're gonna learn eventually because he's gonna hand it to you and be like, "Oh, do this thing," and you're like, "What's the password?"
Yeah.
And he's just gonna tell you because he doesn't care either. He doesn't care that you have it. You know, like
yeah, I could probably guess it, but that was the thing of like Tyler Perry and his wife. Even though we will find out she's having an affair, but like she's like, yeah, I have his password. He just told it to me. Like I didn't even ask for it. He just told it to me. But that's how I would get it. Of like
exactly.
Jake would just hand me the phone. I also have a barrier of effort that I am unwilling to cross to snoop on someone.
Yeah.
Because if I feel the need to snoop on you, that's problem enough, right? I'm not going to trust me, I'm a fantastic detective, but I don't need to expend those skills. If I have a hunch, I'm going to talk to you about it. You know,
I'm going to start calling you Tyler Perry's nose because you both get to the bottoms of problems. Like he figures out that she was cheating because the way she smelled, guys. And wrote a diary entry about it. Like he knew the dates, Paige.
He knew the amounts of days. I mean, here's the thing. When Angela goes through, and I realize that we're taking this movie kind of fast and loose. There's not a lot of plot that happens for the first hour and a half.
I mean, we could table it until we get there, until we get to the big reveal of it all. But he's like, listen, I know you've been sleeping with Will Smith's uncle. I could smell him on you on March 10th and February 17th or whatever.
My favorite was Tasha being like, I know exactly how many miles. Like I'm like checking the miles in his car. I know his resting heart rate. And I'm like, too much. First of all, if you have to make a full-time job out of tracking down your significant other, find a new significant other, man.
I know. Who has the time?
Now, I know he hot, but like, come on now. Nobody that hot. Like
nobody that hot for sure. Yeah.
And I realize that I might be alone in this.
Okay.
There is a certain level of if someone was super stealthy and got away with it and I just never found out about it, as long as I don't get a disease or anything, I'm not going to. Good for you, I guess.
I wonder if you feel that same way about Gavin's murder. Like if she never gets in trouble for it, do you think God's just like, you got it. You're fine.
You get an oopsie. It's a mulligan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, good question.
You could probably sort of claim self-defense a little bit on that. Like there's a little bit of escalating behavior that led up to, well, whatever.
Here's what I'm going to say. Unless they can prove that she hired that truck executioner, the 18-wheeler, ain't going to hold up in court.
Paige.
And she got her best friend as her lawyer.
You'll have to go. That's true. I mean, but listen, Paige, you're going to have to go back and watch the scene where Gavin gets murdered again, because if you pause it for one split second, you can see who's driving the 18-wheeler, and it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh my God. And then the license plate just says no alimony.
It's just $400K. God damn it. That would be so funny.
I would die.
Paige, are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that are making eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. You can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks. And honestly, there's a lot of more add-ons too. That are great. You should check them out. They're pretty great. They have like 40 options across I think it's 8 dietary preferences. Don't fact check me on that. It's something like that, though. But you can check on their menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals because you can choose from things like Calorie Smart or Keto, or I think they have a Protein Plus one too. And the best thing is Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, which is perfect for any active, super busy lifestyle, which is why it's so great for me. So eat smart with Factor by getting started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's like half off your first box and free shipping, guys. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping off your first box. Do it. You ever watch rom-coms and think, wait a minute, this guy's actually a full-blown villain? Take Love Actually. We've seen the scene where Andrew Lincoln shows up at Keira Knightley's door with cue cards professing his love, even though she literally married his best friend yesterday. But let's rewind a bit. How did he get all that secretly recorded footage of her face? Was that a wedding highlight reel or a surveillance operation? If Keira Knightley had NordVPN, she could have protected her online privacy, avoided unwanted cyberstalking, and maybe even put a little password protection on her wedding footage. Because seriously, how did he even get that? Oh wait, he was the videographer. That's what it is. Either way, that's why NordVPN is the real MVP of the modern romance. Here's the deal. NordVPN encrypts your internet connection so no one, not hackers, not your internet provider, and definitely not your husband's weirdly intense friend, can snoop on what you're doing online. And with 7,100 plus servers in 118 countries, you can change your virtual location with a single click, which means yes, you can finally watch that obscure rom-com movie that only seems to be available on BritBox or whatever. And here's where it gets even better. One NordVPN account protects up to 10 devices. So whether you're scrolling through dating app horror stories, streaming rom-coms, or panic searching, what are the legal consequences of confessing your love via cue cards to a married woman? NordVPN's got you covered. So do yourself a favor. Go to nordvpn.com/romancingthepod and use the promo code romancingthepod, all one word, for an exclusive deal. That's nordvpn.com/romancingthepod to protect your data, to unlock your content, and stay safe from creepy dudes with signs on the street.
But this is where the girls are getting massages and we get Angela's basically like, no, because I always have to like follow him or I have to track him down. And they're like, do you think it's because you used to be the head earner in the household and that gave you a sense of control? And now that's not the case. And as the dynamics have shifted, you were struggling with that shift. And she's just like, no, more margaritas.
This is where she says something like, I'm not trying to control him. I just want him to do what I tell him.
Yeah, I'm not trying to control him. I just want him to do what I say.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that shit hilarious.
Just want him to do what I say.
That's so funny.
But we kind of cut to later that night where, again, Troy has just been kind of by himself all day because her friends kind of have him on the outs.
Yeah, and he might have been hanging out with the ladies most of the day, but he wasn't there when they went to go get massages and stuff, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like one of them was getting a massage. Everyone else was like getting nails or like pedicures or stuff, whatever, you know. So he may not have wanted to do that. But like he has been by himself all day.
All day.
And he's very sad because he's unemployed and he's like depressed about it. So like, that's a shitty way to spend a vacation day, you know?
Yeah.
So I got when he was like, just like, can we just go to bed? Like, I don't want to fight or talk about it really. It was just like a sad, shitty day. I kind of got it.
I totally got it. He does confront Mike before that though, because Mike spent all day on that fishing boat being like, I miss her. Does she miss me? And everyone's like, no. He's like, she never talks about me. And they're like,
no.
How about a big fat no?
Yeah.
Bruh. Like, no. And so when he gets back to the house, Mike in a very cruel way, because also remember, Mike is rich and left his wife with nothing.
Yeah.
He basically is like, hey, I heard you're having trouble getting a job. Everything good. Like he's rubbing it in.
He is, yeah.
And basically Troy confronts him and then they go to bed. But this is where they have the conversation where he's like, I just want to go to bed. And she's just like, I get it, but like, this is putting me in a bad headspace. We need to talk this out.
Right.
And they do.
Yeah.
And that's good for them. We see Tyler Perry and his wife. She's like, I'm going to fill a bath for us. And this is one of those things that like, I swear I read in a Cosmo or something at some point. I don't know if it's actually true or not. Perhaps as someone who's been cheated on, you could let me know.
Cheated. I got cheated on. It really sucked.
Cheated.
Yeah. Paige, first off, she said, I'm going to go fill a bathtub. And she said that because she said something about Phil. She is thinking about Phil. And she said Phil to her husband, like his name was Phil. His name ain't Phil.
His name
is Tyler Ass Perry.
Or Terry in this movie.
Right. And that's why she was like, I'll go fill the tub or whatever.
Yeah.
But ask me the question you were going to ask me.
The question I was going to ask, because this movie portrays their relationship since the affair as more intimate than it had been, where it was almost like she dialed up the sex post-affair to try and cover her tracks, which is something, again, that I've read in a Cosmo, that they're like, sometimes when people are having an affair, they'll try to cover up their guilt by trying to be a better partner when they are actually there. Was this your experience?
Ooh, no, but I found out while it was currently happening. At this point in the movie, it's over, right? Like the affair happened.
No.
Oh, okay, so the affair is still happening. Oh, that's right.
The affair is ongoing, yeah.
That's right. No. No, this wasn't my experience at all. No. It was a lot of like getting yelled at for like not doing things that I had not yet been asked to do.
Sure.
And then even though we were like splitting bills and stuff, like hearing her say in public like that I'm just living off of her and stuff like that. It was like a very terrible living situation. I mean, before I found out, I knew. Like they sort of talk about in this movie, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't like really good about hiding it. Like she's like, well, we're going to have like a happy hour with the girls at the office or whatever. And I mean, we were all friends, and I could see like based on Instagram stories and shit like that, like, oh, well, they weren't there. Well, they weren't. Oh, okay. So there were no quote girls at this happy hour or whatever. And then the next quote work trip where she had to go like stay overnight somewhere that was 45 minutes away from where we lived. I was like, I don't know that they would do a work conference at a B&B. That's a winery.
Ooh.
So I just also drove up there and, saw it with my own eyes and then moved.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was great.
Good detective work, though.
Honestly, like it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Oh, sure.
Because like that relationship wasn't going to work anyway because I was too like focused on my work at that time and like was not giving her enough attention. And that's the way it like came out sideways because she didn't like maybe have the courage to break up with me or whatever. But like she fully should have broken up with me because I wasn't a great boyfriend to her. I wish she hadn't cheated on me, but like I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we kind of cut through everybody that night where Angela and Marcus are arguing about the password. Terry and Diane are like, she was going to fill the bathtub. They're hanging out. Troy and Sheila have their conversation. And then we hear fighting from Pat.
Janet Jackson is Pat. Yeah.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
We hear fighting from their room. I, at no point, was very clear about what all they seemed to have problems with in their relationship. Let me distill for you what I think I gleaned from it, okay?
Okay.
It seems like he felt like she was no longer invested in their relationship, just their career, just her career.
Sure. Yeah.
But we don't really see that on the screen. I mean, they're taking, and again, we don't see enough of them on the screen, period. So
that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't really think it tells you what started, what led to her falling out of love with him. But that's the reason that he keeps giving for them getting divorced. It's just like, my wife doesn't love me anymore. Like she fell out of love with me or whatever, which like that can totally happen. And they've lost a child. So like,
right.
I kind of not get it. Like I've never been through that. So I don't understand because that's not something that's personally affected me, but like that happens to people when they lose a child. But it's typically because like the memory of that child, it's just so hard to deal with that you sort of come apart. But like that doesn't really seem to be what's happening. It seems more like she just fell out of love with him?
Well, yeah, because here's the thing, because they did the dead child thing in the last movie,
right,
which is extra wild when later he's like, you didn't cry a single tear. I was like, we literally saw her cry a bunch about this in the last movie.
A ton. We got it on evidence. Like, I got film.
Yeah.
We could show it on Sports Shuffle or whatever, like film at 11. Like, I could show you them crocodile tears from the first movie.
Well, and I feel like it might have been that there was no natural progression from the last movie, so they just kind of yada for this movie, because in the last one we got to the bottom of that, like of them having to go through the grief process together, and that was like their resolution. And in this one it's kind of like they're just not in love anymore, and I'm like, okay, sure, I know that happens and stuff, but like that's usually a time to go to counseling.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You know, because love, to some degree, choice, not feeling, because the actual just general bubbly feelings of like early stage relationship stuff fade. That is just the way relationships happen. But then when we see the drinking and stuff later on, I was like, oh, she is not safe in her home. And what we have been told about the problems is completely inaccurate. And I think he has a serious drinking problem that they have not told us about the entire movie.
And we haven't seen the entire movie.
After
we see that scene, which we'll get to eventually, it's very clear why she doesn't want to be with him.
100%.
And it's not because she, quote, fell out of love with him, although I'm sure she did fall out of love with him too.
Sure.
It's because he's abusive. And an alcoholic.
And she is not safe in her home.
Exactly.
100%.
She should divorce him. Yeah, 100%.
For her own safety. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she shouldn't feel bad about it for a second. This movie wants her to feel bad about it. Because the thesis statement I think this movie thinks it is putting forth is that basically push through it, don't get divorced. And I'm like, no, sometimes for our own safety and our own wellness, divorce happens, and it's okay.
Paige, this movie has a completely different message than that to me, and it is, you can't get divorced, but if you kill your husband and get away with it, God will reward you with Dwayne the Cock Johnson.
Oof. I mean,
cock-a-doodle dick. Let's go.
Devil drives a hard bargain, but you know what?
The devil drives a hard bargain in 9.5-inch intervals over and over and over again.
Over and over again. But anyway, so they hear her fight. Diane goes out to check it out. Patricia comes out of her room. It's Patricia, and she's like, hey, something's going on. Don't hide. Like, tell me about it. And she's like, no. The next morning, Sheila gets up to cook breakfast, and Mike is already up, and he's like, there's staff to cook breakfast. And she's like, Troy likes my cooking. And he's like, I used to love it. And she's like, really? Because I ate alone a lot.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. He deserves every sentence of everything she says to him.
Yes.
And the fact that he didn't just go home after this, it's like when, oh, you're still here? And then that girl kept talking where you're like, do you not see your exit? But he then is like, you know, hey, don't you remember like our first apartment, all this stuff? And he's conjuring these like very pleasant memories. And she's like, oh, I remember the tile in that apartment because you shoved me into it and I bled and I was never able to get the blood out. And I'm like, ooh, girl.
That made me so sad.
Yes.
I mean, on top of like all the abuse shit that's even sadder, like she doesn't know how to clean blood out of tile.
It's hard.
Like I was just so sad.
I mean,
but there's a lot of other sad shit that's actually happening. Like I did love that she was like, oh, this time that you like look back on fondly because it was so great or so you thought,
right,
was like a scary, terrible time in my life.
Yes.
And because I'm safe from you, I can now tell you.
Yes, I have the distance to talk about it.
And I love that she is not at all scared to do that and does that and is like, fuck you, get out of here.
Well, and I love when she says, you are my past and there ain't no future in it. And I was like, yes.
Right?
Yes. And I love that at no point does she entertain going back to him. Ever. Thank goodness.
I mean, she should have told her husband before like going to his house and all of that shit.
Yes, we'll get to that later. Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultimately had she just communicated with her husband, Troy would have been fine with it. And it would like what happens wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Had she just communicated. Yeah.
Right. But we cut to the beach where Angela is running on the beach and is like, I'm having a great time. Let's get some drinks. But before they can do that, what looks like sand blows across her, but it turns out to be human cremains.
Paige, I now know what I want to have happen with my remains.
Right? Just on an unsuspecting passerby?
Or, I mean, if you guys want to sign up to stand in the wake of my ashes being spread, like, feel free. Yeah.
I really don't.
Breathe me into your lungs, guys. Let's do this.
No, I'm good. I would prefer not to do that.
Have me inside you.
No.
Gross.
I will, if you want, bake you into a cheesy bread and trick Mikey into eating you.
I'd be honored.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for entrusting me with your last wishes. He's not going to listen to this. He won't know.
He definitely won't know. I mean, he'll know when he takes a bite. He's like, why does this taste like a foot? Oh, hang on.
Why is this cheesy garlic bread so loud? But she runs back into the ocean to wash it off. But this is where we meet the older couple who they're like, hey, come join us for dinner. It's our last night on the trip. And at this point I was like, how's the trip over? Nothing has happened. But we're going to go around and talk about why we got married. And then we cut to what, I shit you not, absolutely must be the set of one of the Lachey's shows on Netflix. And it is 100% a Too Hot to Handle reunion. Like the one where they talk to the therapist and they're like, I've been afraid to open up to people, and that's why I smeared mud on my boobs in the shape of a heart. Like that. It is that. Just a bunch of Adirondack chairs on a beach around a fire that's like, okay, throw the drawing of your pain into the fire. Like that. But this movie. And they go around talking about why they got married. But yeah. Anyway, they go person by person. It's very, very sweet. But then Pat and Gavin don't want to do it. So they make the old couple do it first. And the old couple has this like long love story that is very, very sweet, where it's basically like, we had these kind of complicated, difficult lives, but eventually we ended up together and we've been together for 55 years.
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
It was mainly like that he went to war, she married somebody else, he married somebody else. He had 2 kids, she had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. They both ended up single. Like I think he got divorced and her husband died or whatever. And they eventually came back together, you know, and they've stayed together for 55 years at that point.
Right. They Brady Bunched their kids together.
Right.
And then came to this Lachey retreat.
Right.
But then Pat and Gavin go, and instead of talking about why they got married, Patricia, Janet Jackson, is like, we decided to get a divorce, but we're going to be amicable or whatever. And everyone acts like this is the worst news they've ever heard in their entire lives. Like, how dare they dare to get divorced?
Are the retreats not working?
Right? Perhaps. She's the one that organizes them.
I know, right? Which means she organized this to drop this bomb.
Yeah, right? It's like Best Man Holiday where she got everyone together to die.
So you're saying she's a pattern of killing people in movies?
Well, it's not Janet Jackson in both of them.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. It's been so long since I've seen the other one. I have no idea who's in it.
Yeah. But anyway, everyone's like, oh my God. We cut to back home. The trip is over. They are in divorce proceedings. And it seems like everything is being fairly equitably split down the middle, and then it gets to her book earnings and he's like, hell nah.
Yeah.
Because as far as what the movie describes, what is on the screen is that it's in a shared joint account, which would mean it's part of the assets.
Right.
Now, if she'd been smart, if you ever find yourself in this situation, hear me out. Form an LLC, keep it in a business account, because if he doesn't own the business, then that's not a part of your joint assets. You're welcome.
It's the business's assets.
It's the business's assets that
absolutely.
can be paid out to you at any time, including after your divorce is final. Anyway, know your rights, get a lawyer, LLC that shit.
That's, I'm sure, what would have actually happened in real life. You know what I'm saying? But like, whatever.
Look, here's what I'm going to say to you. If you're ever being transferred the amount of money that you would get for a book advance and sale, you absolutely should form an LLC so that you can pay yourself and take the taxes out of it so you don't get absolutely reamed come tax season. Also, we need to talk to our accountant and get our tax forms.
We do. You're right.
But yeah, I can't imagine just putting it into a joint account. That'd be insane. That's bonkers.
That's like leaving it in a checking account. Like what are you doing?
Yes.
It's $800,000.
And
like, what are you doing?
They're splitting a cool 1.6 mil. So these people know how to manage money, and they just left $800 just sitting in. I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, I know you have a financial planner. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so he's like, give me that money, because you are absolutely right. If it is just in a random joint checking account and he's on the account, he is absolutely legally entitled to it in most states, California included. And he's probably entitled to alimony if she is the breadwinner.
I don't know that she is. I think he's got a pretty decent job too, right? Like,
she bought his architectural firm.
Okay.
And they're splitting the assets. So he gets his firm, she gets her stuff. But that means that if she is maintained, depending on the disparate income, she may owe him alimony. For
a certain number of years, yeah.
Yeah, depending on your state. In California, definitely, whoever the breadwinner is tends to owe alimony. But like, unless you do a no contest divorce and you know, whatever. But
yeah.
Anyway, this turns into a shouting match. They leave and then they go back to the same house.
Yeah, they live together, Paige. They're married.
Okay, you've been through divorce. Maybe I'm wrong. Once we start divorce proceedings, I'm not living in the same house as you.
That's how it went for me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't doing, like, we out.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah. Either you're out or I'm out. One of us is out. You can come back and get stuff, but we ain't living together.
That's exactly how it went. Yeah. It was like, hey, I want a divorce. I'm going to stay with my brother. Let me know when I can come get my shit. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. Anyway, they still live in the same house. That's not good. Meanwhile, Angela is dropping off the kids. Because remember, Marcus had kids from a previous relationship or whatever.
Right.
So she's picked up the kids. She's bringing them home. And her neighbor is like, hey, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I hear all this noise. And it sounds like something's going on in the bedroom. And she's like, I work those days.
And Marcus doesn't. Marcus only works on the weekends. They've already established that.
Right.
So it's like a huge, like, oh my God, it's definitely Marcus, right?
Right. And so she is like, watch the kids for an hour. And I'm like, ooh.
I love when it cuts to the neighbor serving cookies to their kids, turning on the TV to watch their dad on TV.
Oh my God.
And then it shows her arriving at the studio and like running on the set to like yell at him.
Yes.
Thinking that like she could even get on set is hilarious. Like she would have been tackled by security 20 feet before she got in front of a camera.
But here's what I'm going to tell you. I believe in her. I believe if anyone could do it, she could do it.
She's in great shape. She's been training for this all her life. She just got to make it past one guard and then sprint down here. And she's got one of the fastest 40x40 times I've ever seen in heels.
Yeah.
So like she's probably going to do it.
Later in this same, like literally scenes from now, barely, we watch her hop a fence in stilettos. like it's fucking nothing. Incredible.
What is this, Showgirls? Come on.
Oh my God.
You're killing it, lady.
But we cut between this and Sheila and Troy having their conversation of like, he comes home, he didn't get the job, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's in a rough emotional place. And she's like, so are you blaming me? And it's just bad. And I do love that, like, he comes back later and is like, I'm so sorry. Because that's, hey, I've been married for 5+ years at this point. Sometimes that happens where it's like, you have a fucking shitty day.
Yeah.
You say something in the moment that you didn't mean to. You were in a bad mood. It had nothing to do with that other person. And you have to go back to them and just be like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I did not mean to be curt to you. None of this was your fault. I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. I was having a bad day. Do you forgive me? Like, you have to. And he does do that, which is great later. Because first, we cut to Tyler Perry's house where she brings home flowers and they had a card in them because they've got the card stick. And he's like,
Yeah, because she's like glowing after a great day at the office and she's carrying in flowers like she's not carrying in flowers that the guy she's cheating on her husband with got her. It's crazy that she would do this and not like throw the flowers out. Like if your affair partner got you flowers, I wouldn't bring flowers home with me.
Yeah, I'd leave them at the office.
Like it's crazy to me that she would be so like callous about it, just like whatever. I don't know.
I think she thought she could pass them off as like, I picked up flowers while I was at the grocery store.
That is what she says, yes. Which of course she's lying about, but yeah.
Yeah. Unless you do that on the regular, that's a weird thing to do.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, but we cut to those kids watching the show as she immediately bursts through and is like, you're evil. What we need the money, the fucking recession, like everything. And then they shut the TV off and I'm like, no, but thank God. They just cut us to the station where we're watching it happen like in the moment. And I love that all of his other panelist coworkers like run over to see what's happening. And then she comes back to get her purse and they just scatter. They're just like,
I mean, they just scatter back to the desk where they're about to be back on like live.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really funny that she left her purse there and no one moved it.
Oh,
like set deck or whatever that's called on like a TV set would have been like, I'm throwing this over here, ma'am. Whenever you're done yelling at our host, please collect it and leave.
Right, right. But so she grabs her purse and leaves. We then cut to Pat and Gavin alone in the same house. He is very drunk.
Yeah.
Very drunk. A level of drunk that would make me nervous.
Also, she says something to this man who is in, like a tank top and like sweatpants and no shoes that makes it sound like he just drove there. And if you're that drunk that you drove somewhere in just a tank top, sweats, and no shoes, like you're schmammered.
Yeah, yeah.
And obviously should not be driving, right? I don't know that he was, but she was like, oh, are you back from work or what? She said something like that. I was like, was he driving? Because he looks like he's been comfortable for hours.
Yeah, I think he was just packing. I don't think he came from anywhere. I hope not.
I hope so. I hope that's all he was doing. Reminiscing, drinking, it got away from him, and then he like beats his wife again.
Oh my God.
Thereby letting us know why she's really leaving him.
Oh, this scene is so horrific because he literally forces her down on the couch and is holding her down and pours alcohol on her. And then he sets their son's baby pictures on fire. It's not safe for her to be in that house.
It's not safe for anyone related to Kodak to be in that house, Paige.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy that you would set the only pictures you have of your baby on fire.
Right?
What are you doing, you alcoholic monster? Anyway, there was no indication that he was like this before this one moment, and it feels weird and out of place, but like you just immediately hate him because he's a terrible dude.
Yeah, he is the worst. And you're just like, oh my gosh, oh no.
It also really informs like before when Janet Jackson was like telling them we're getting divorced, but we're going to remain amicable. It seems like she's the one that wants the divorce. And she is telling him like, we're gonna do this fairly. She's like really like playing to him like, I'm sorry, or whatever. Like, I can't be with you anymore, but I'm sorry. We're gonna do this fairly or whatever.
Right, right.
But what she's actually doing, and this scene sort of informs, is like handling him with kid gloves. because she's afraid at any moment he might attack her.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
So it like changes her perceived motivation in those early scenes.
Right.
Where you feel like she's experiencing guilt for not wanting to be in the relationship because she doesn't love him anymore. But what she's really doing is just like, she's scared of him. So she's like handling him very gently. And it like makes you real sad.
Yeah. Yeah. But we cut to the girls all kind of meet up for lunch, but Janet Jackson doesn't show up. But she's like, the girls are like, yeah, we can always tell when a man is cheating. And Tyler Perry's wife is like, and we're like, she's totally cheating. We've kind of figured it out.
Well, she's like, no, you can't tell them. They're like, man, we know you're cheating.
Right.
I mean, they don't say that, but like we all know in the audience know.
Yeah, the audience know.
Is it because Will Smith's uncle's a judge and she's trying to like work her way up that skirt, that judge's dress?
Yeah. Oh my God. Judge's dress.
Because she's a lawyer, right?
She's a lawyer.
I mean, Paige, if that's not a dress, I don't know what is a dress.
It's a robe.
That is definitely a dress.
But a robe by any other name, I guess, is a dress.
It is a dress that you wear backwards. The zipper should be in the back. Like, it doesn't make sense that it's a robe. It's not a robe. It's not designed like a robe. It is a dress.
It's not luxurious. You wouldn't wear it to a spa.
You would not wear it to a spa. You would not wear it with your ma. Sorry.
You would not wear it here or there. You would not wear it anywhere. Anyway, so they go to check on Janet Jackson and she's not answering. And I was like, oh my God, is she dead in the house?
You think she might be because they cut away from like her getting abused.
Yes. And real talk, that like, hey, serious moment here. If you are being abused in the home, please call, talk to your friends, reach out. Leave.
Yeah, leave.
Please.
Find a place to stay that's not there and not anywhere that person knows you are.
Yeah, and do not feel any sort of guilt about it. Your safety needs to be your priority.
Yeah.
Like, go. Because her being dead is a very real reality. That's why I thought that might be what was happening in the movie, because unfortunately...
I thought that too.
Yes. Like, most women who are murdered by romantic partners.
In this situation.
In domestic violence situations.
Well, I mean, like in the I want to get divorced time period, right?
Yes. Or when they're pregnant. But yes.
Yeah.
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 It's bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Thankfully, she's not dead. She's just quietly smoking in anger, which I was like, phew. We will find out that she has changed the locks.
Right, because he abused her.
Right. We then cut to Sheila goes to see Mike. She asks him to help talk to his golf buddy so that Troy can get a job. I hated this because I don't trust Mike. And I'm like, but even it does solve the problem. But I'm just like, when he finds out about this, he's going to feel even more emasculated than before. And just because he didn't know, and then you're sneaky behind his back. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, Sheila better hope like Mike dies of cancer before Troy finds out that Mike is the one that got him the job.
Yeah, no, he does find out in the movie.
I know, but that's like what you gotta hope, right?
Yeah.
Because like if he ever finds out, you just gotta move.
Well, and we cut to like he comes home, he's got a job, and she is like, "Oh, that's great," and probably feels a little bit guilty about it. But he then apologizes. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I spoke to you that way. That was uncalled for." And he does say, he's like, even the best marriages argue sometimes, which is true.
Yeah.
Part of being married a long time is just figuring out how to effectively communicate with each other. And sometimes things get heated, but they should never get physical or verbally abusive. And if that's happening, please leave.
Yeah.
Please leave. We want you to leave. We want you to thrive. But at this point, I was like, how is there 30 minutes left of this movie?
I know.
I had no idea. I had no idea what we were in for. But we cut to Janet Jackson's house where her husband like gets his friends to come help him move, but he don't got no keys because she changed the locks, which is absolutely what she should have done.
Right.
Good for her. And so he breaks in because everything in this woman's house is glass. And then she comes home because she was like, I knew you were going to fucking break in. And she just takes his golf clubs and goes fucking ham. And I loved every second of it, even though she was definitely going through something.
Oh, yeah. And she's destroying all of her nice glass furniture or whatever.
Yeah. She's having a day and it's not great.
Yeah.
But she scared those men out of her house. And I'm like, good for you.
Oh, you mean the 3 intruders who broke in and smashed up the place when insurance asks? Yes.
Oh, that's what it was in the abuse scene. She says, yeah, he just got home. We don't know where he was.
Right.
But if this had been me, I think I probably would have been like, no, officer, he never came home that night. Don't know where he is. Like, the fact that she lets him get out of her house unscathed, I was like, you're better than me, girl. I would have aimed for heads. Like,
Paige, I don't think she let him out of her house unscathed. I think she knew she had already laid the groundwork for his murder. So she was like, you wait till fucking Tuesday, Gavin.
she was about to call her guy.
You will not smell what the Rock is driving.
Nope. Meanwhile,
Can I just say this before meanwhile?
yeah.
I have been in the situation where I was helping a buddy of mine who was going through a divorce, and we had to break into their house to get his stuff out. And it was because she changed the locks on him. And here's what we did. We got there, realized the locks had been changed, and I was like, I'm going to text your wife.
Yeah.
And so I text her, and she said, say this to my friend.
Uh-huh.
And it was, take the back door off the hinges. You know how to do it. Don't worry about it. I'll get it back on when I get there.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, we never told anybody this, but our back door is like super easy to take off the hinges. So we just like popped their back door off and went into their house, got his shit. We actually put it back on because it was also super easy to put back on. And then we left. But technically, we did break and enter.
There you go. I mean, she could have just texted back and said, it's my shit now.
Well, yeah, they actually were sort of like having an amicable divorce.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't like a dramatic thing. It was just he wanted to go while she was at work and I wanted to help. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But like, we didn't like throw a potted plant through a glass window or whatever. Yeah.
I did love Marcus like, man just broke in here with a ficus. I was like,
what the ficus? Yeah, it was very funny.
not the ficus. But we cut to Angela, who hops a fence in stilettos and is like, I'm going to find out what's going on.
She is amazing. Like, athletically, that woman is impressive.
Yes.
I can't jump shit
No.
on a regular day. She's doing it in stilettos.
Yes. She could be a hurdler, like an Olympic hurdler. So she jumps and she's like, it's Tuesday. I'm going to find out what's happening. She goes in the house. And she, again, goes up the stairs with a knife.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Exchanges the weapon for a gun.
Yeah.
And the whole time she's just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get you. Like, she's just like pleasantly singing to herself. And then fires first, asks questions later. It turns out to be the gardener and the maid.
And they are like getting busy. So they're like,
Yeah.
they're the sounds for sure. It's not like it like still could be Mark. It's definitely them, you know? And so she fires off what I call a warning shot, I guess. And it like goes, those bullets would have gone out of the house into just the street. Like there may be dead people.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of those walls. We don't know.
Look, I don't know how things go in the South, but in California, if you fire a gun and somebody else hears it, the police show up.
Paige, that is definitely not how it goes in the South.
Okay, all right.
I hear people shooting guns pretty often, and you're allowed as long as you own a certain amount of property. You have to have like enough land that like if you shoot a bullet more or less,
Yeah.
it won't go to someone else's property. It's like it's not like you have to be this amount of landowner like Mikey would say.
Yeah, no.
It's more like a safety thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm sure that probably is the case in California as well, because people clay shoot and whatever.
Yeah. And it is like acres and acres. It's not like if you have a fourth of an acre, you can shoot your gun on your property. It's like you have to have like a wildlife reserve kind of thing, you know?
Right. This is a fucking cul-de-sac. And like her neighbors absolutely would have heard those gunshots. And she's just like, fine, that nothing happens to her about it. It's bonkers to me.
I mean, legal ramifications set aside, she's done thousands of dollars of damage to her own home. Yeah.
And is going to have to explain it because he gave her his phone and it's implied that she's trying to answer text messages because he comes home after this. And it's like, no, but this is where we find out he has another phone. But I'm like, how's she going to explain the bullet holes in their bedroom to him?
Well, that's why she comes in all aggressive. She doesn't want to have to talk about the bullet holes.
Right.
So she comes in all mad. So she like defers that away.
Yep.
He's like, why is the bedroom whistling? Oh, it's windy out. And you know, the holes that we've always had above the bed.
We've always had those.
Like they're just whistling because, well, I'm sorry. Are you trying to say that we've had holes above our bed the entire time we've lived here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know the holes.
The decorative bullet holes. They came with the house.
Right. We live in Brentwood. What?
Well, it depends on what Brentwood.
I guess they're actually in Atlanta, so it wouldn't be Brentwood. I was thinking this is like California, and like that's where rich people live in California, but whatever.
Well, again, it depends on which Brentwood. There are multiple Brentwoods in California. But anyway.
Fair enough. Okay.
So we cut to Tyler Perry and his wife, and here's when he's like, I could smell the man on you. And you're like, did this just turn into werewolf porn? What's going on?
Man, when Tyler Perry became deputy dog, I was like, hell yeah. Tell me what you discovered with your nose.
Ooh.
But he more or less says like, you know that song Risque? I'm like that, but for dudes. And so I could smell his dick on you.
Let me smell your dick.
Exactly.
Yep. But now we cut to Sheila confronting Mike, and she's like, don't call my house again. Like, if I will tell him myself, like, but please do not involve. And he's like, that's not what it is. And his hand is shaking and we don't know what is going on, but he needs her help with something. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Angela and Marcus get in another fight because he has a second phone. Hilarious.
But I'm sorry. Is it hilarious, or does it confirm that even though it wasn't him cheating on her in their bed, he's still cheating on her, right? He's got a burner phone.
Probably. He's hiding something.
I don't know of any other reason he would have a second phone if not for that, right?
That's the only reason I could think. The movie seems to imply the same as well.
Yeah.
But we cut to Troy at work, and one of the other officers is like, hey, man, it's really great to work with you. We were never sure, because recommendations can go either way, but we're glad that you're here. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, some guy that the chief golfs with, Mike. And he's like, do you know where he lives? And I was like, no, because of course he shows up and Sheila is there. And so he punches Mike, pulls him off the couch where Mike is full ass asleep. And Sheila's just like, yo, he's got cancer. I was taking him to chemo. And again, we are 5 minutes to the end of the movie.
I thought it was really crass for Troy to be like, well, you're a chemo, and then just start punching Mike in the face. Like, I thought it was hilarious. That I actually got the vibe that Mike had just come back from chemo and was like tired because it takes it out of you, because he doesn't fight back at all. He just like gets lifted off the couch by Troy, thrown on the ground, and he gets punched in the face like 6 times.
Yep.
But listen, he's a bad dude. So like,
yeah. Meanwhile, we cut to Janet Jackson's house where her friends show up and there's no power, and it's just shattered glass everywhere, and she's just sitting and she's like, can you just leave me alone? And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that, which is the right response.
Right.
But the second part should be like, hey, will you partner with us to help you find a safe place to be for a little bit, for you to process some of what's going on? I'm not saying it has to be a grippy sock vacation, but sometimes we all need a little bit of a grippy sock vacation. You don't feel it?
Yeah.
All right.
And while we're there, once you're finally safe, let's call Dwayne the Cock Johnson and tell him to stand down.
That's what's up.
He doesn't need to rent the 18-wheeler with the license plate that says $400K on it.
A bumper sticker that says, my kid is an honor student at No Alimony High School. Or just like... But then we get all the guys together drinking. They fully exclude Troy still again, which is nuts.
I know.
Because Troy just shows up. He's like, I'm sorry if I hurt you. And he's like, it's okay, man. You didn't know. And I'm like, that's the end of it? Okay. But this is where Tyler Perry has this whole like, men can have sex and it doesn't matter, but women can't. And I'm like, that's full bullshit.
I know. I thought that was so crazy. It was more or less Tyler Perry being like, it's okay for guys to cheat, but women can't. And I was like, oh, that's
like, they emotionally cannot.
It's wild.
And I'm like, what a wild false belief system.
That's like something you would hear your friends say, and then immediately they'd say, it's like science, guys, which means it's not at all science.
It's not at all science.
Right.
It's not at all science. And then this is where he's like, I'm getting chemo. I'm going to beat this thing. And he might as well cough blood into a rag, but we're not going to get any payoff on it.
Not until Why Did I Get Married 3?
We cut to Janet Jackson in like, all I have in my notes is just in all caps, Rhythm Nation. Although this is not the outfit from Rhythm Nation, but she's doing that kind of walk in a very tailored suit into Gavin's architecture firm. And she's like, I brought a cake for your birthday.
And he's like, it's not my birthday. And then they sing him happy birthday.
But off key. And I was like, Janet.
I literally thought to myself, did someone else sing happy birthday for Janet Jackson? Because like,
it is off key.
She can actually sing, and it's
I
terrible.
know.
Yeah. I honestly thought that they just didn't get sound from her and like drop that in. Because like, I know she could sing.
Right.
There's literal albums of proof.
So many albums of proof.
Yeah.
But so then out of the cake jumps, I'll call it a drag performer. but clearly meant to embarrass him, which is a weird, because either she's outing him as being closeted or implying that he is to try and change the perception of him at work.
I think that's what it was.
Both of those are gross.
Yeah.
I hate both of them.
But what she's really trying to do is embarrass him with what I can only assume is one of the best dancers at a male strip club in the Fifth Element universe.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, he looks fabulous though. Like, it's like his hair is like a helmet. It's like bright colors. The dude is amazing. He's crushing it in the cake.
Yes.
But it's enough to get Gavin to run to his car and then fall victim to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson hitting him with the 18-wheeler.
Yeah, because he drives off in his car, and in my head I was just like, Regina George, and then he drives out and the 18-wheeler hits him, and this is when I started texting you, what the fuck, just over and over again.
He got blindsided.
Multiple times. Blindsided at moments, literal seconds before the end of the movie. And then we cut to his funeral, or we cut to the hospital where she's like, I regret this so much.
And it should have then cut to like not the doctor walking up and her asking how he was or whatever, because that's like where the scene ends.
Right.
But like with the police coming and arresting her, be like, we heard from The Rock, click, and like taking her out. We got to take you down for some questions.
But at the same time, I was like, girl, he literally hit you. Like, we saw it on the screen. I was like,
right.
What? Like, and I know that it's an emotional time. A lot of shit's going on, but I was like, no, Janet, let this one go.
Honestly and truly, let this one go. I would say, I don't really think she tried to kill him. I think she tried to embarrass him at work and he died.
Yeah.
And that is sad. It's fucked up that she tried to embarrass him at work, but like, she shouldn't go to jail for that.
No.
And also, it's not her fault he died.
No.
It's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's fault he died. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for driving that truck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's whoever drove that truck. And honestly, Gavin's fault, because it's like, it looks like Gavin is driving recklessly, and that's sort of what leads to it.
Yes.
So, like, truly, she should not feel responsible, but there's no way she's not gonna.
No, and this is even crazier because then we cut to his funeral and they're going down the line, and I'm like, they're really going to make us wait down this line to see who is there, Mike or Gavin.
I knew when that scene started on someone's foot, I wasn't going to know who died for at least 45 seconds.
Except that they fuck it up, and halfway down the line, they're like, we'll miss you, Gavin. And I was like, oh, so it's Gavin.
I know.
I was like, okay.
And they're releasing like those floaty like lantern things. I kind of love those. They're awesome, but like,
I love those. They're so pretty.
They're releasing a few of those. It's nice, honestly.
But then we cut to 1 year later. She's in the parking lot and a lady comes up and is like, this might be inappropriate. Can I set you up with somebody? Wild inappropriate.
Not only can I set you up with somebody, this somebody's super rich and he wants to like make an investment or an endowment into our school. So like, can you meet and perhaps have sex with this guy? And if that was me hearing that, I'd be like, shit, I got to take one for the team, and that team being the college I work for. And then like for her, the hottest person in the world walks up and is like, you want to smash?
It's me, The Rock. Never let them get into cars.
Oh yeah, like it's like
it's part of the Fast and Furious universe.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, it's me, Hobbs or Shaw. He's Hobbs, right?
I think he's
Jason
Hobbs.
Statham is Shaw.
Who knows?
Okay, yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I thought it was insane of Lillian, who is the lady who tries to set her up with The Rock.
Yeah.
I thought it was insane that she would stand and have a conversation this close to Janet Jackson, this close to a street. Did you not see what happened 2 scenes ago? Get out of the streets.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, and that's the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about I Murdered My Husband for $400K by Tyler Perry?
Oof. Not a lot happens for the first hour and a half. But ooh, that last half hour.
So much happens the rest of this movie, though. Yeah.
So much happens.
Once Tyler Perry brings out and spins his patented Tyler Perry's Wheel of Trauma, it's great from that point on.
Yeah.
I'll say this about the movie. I didn't love it. I probably will never watch it again. I could have bought it for $1 more than I rented it, and I opted to just rent it, and I'm glad I did. So take from that what you will. I will say, though, I am not this movie's target audience, and if you are, you probably like it, because it is a well-made version of that, and I get why you'd like it, but it's aggressively not for me. So I really just wanted an Angela soundboard after this movie, and for Janet Jackson to face charges for murdering her husband.
Here's what I will say. Despite there being rampant pacing problems and not a lot happening in the first hour and a half, I wasn't bored, because what I have learned from this podcast, as we have done a handful of movies like this, is I kind of love the drama where I'm just like, who's cheating on who?
They're like Spanish soap operas on that level. And they all have like the morality tales to them. And they're all like centered in very religious, like patriarchal thinking. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Besos y lágrimas.
¿Por qué?
¿Por qué? So while I enjoy watching it, I probably won't watch it again. But if another one of these came out, I'd absolutely go see that one, because now I'm invested in the lore.
I would 100% forget everything from Why Did I Get Married and then Why Did I Get Married 2?
Yeah.
And then still go see Why Did I Get Married 3? Literally, if the movie starts with the word Tyler Perry, I'm going to see it.
But here's the thing. This is what I expect from a Tyler Perry movie, is like intrigue and then a wild left turn into trauma at the end. And that's what I got. And so you know what? I actually had a good, relaxing time watching this. Probably won't watch it again, but it's fun enough for what it is.
Yeah, it is. Fun enough is right. I also think that and I'm pretty sure I said something like this for the first time we did this, the first movie, but Janet Jackson is such a good actress that she could have had a way bigger acting career than she did.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's because she had immense success elsewhere, and that probably kept her very busy, but also you don't need to do the acting as much because you have enough money and you're professionally satisfied elsewhere. So
right.
I get why we don't see her in a lot of movies, but damn, she does a great job in this. And she did in the last one too. She's a good actress. It's crazy to me that we don't see her very much in movies with how good she is.
We'll get to a little bit in fun facts, but especially considering what was happening in her life at the time that this movie was being made, she does an incredible job.
Oh, was she having a really happy time in her life? And it was just so hard to clue in with the sad emotions?
She was not. We'll talk about it in fun facts.
No, I'm sure not. Well, Paige, we're right there. Do you want to perhaps hit us with your fun facts?
Yes.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Golf club, fun facts.
So a 9-iron is what she used to bash in Tiger Woods' windshield on the morning after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
2009.
So let's talk about what was happening in 2009 in Janet Jackson's life. So Janet Jackson was informed on June 25th, 2009, while filming this movie, that her brother had passed away.
Oh my God.
Yes. They had to halt production of this movie because of the death of Michael Jackson.
Been there.
When filming resumed, Janet Jackson has said that she channeled the grief and sadness into her acting, resulting in her breaking 3 titanium golf clubs in her rampage scene.
No shit. That's impressive. I've seen people break titanium golf clubs on the course. That sounds way more impressive than it is, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not like it's solid titanium or anything, but
right.
It's still not easy.
Right.
Anyway, that's crazy. I still remember the night Michael Jackson died because I was playing a show that night and it was announced, and I heard someone say the funniest thing I heard that night, which was oh my God, where's Prince? And they were genuinely concerned that Prince might have died too. And he literally was I can't lose both of them. I cannot lose both.
That is one of my favorite jokes on The League, where Prince dies and he's like, what does Michael Jackson have to say about it? Because Michael had already been long dead, and it's Rafi just finding out for the first time. Now, unlike Janet Jackson, Jill Scott was kind of having a good time, because in the first movie, she was in the midst of going through a divorce of her own, just as her character is going through a horrible divorce. In this movie, she had just had a baby, just like her character Sheila did. So that was kind of fun that she got to kind of play what was going on in her life.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. This is the 5th time on screen that Louis Gossett Jr. and Cicely Tyson have worked together.
Really?
Yeah. It made it very, for those of you who don't know, if you're watching the movie, that is the older couple that then talks about their long-standing relationship. It's very, very sweet to see them together.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest difficulties they've mentioned with making this movie is that when they were filming on location in the Bahamas, because they did film in the Bahamas, and they were filming at night, the amount of mosquitoes and fireflies attracted by the production's lights would cause substantial issues with filming the night scenes, which is why there's only 1 or 2 scenes at night in the Bahamas.
That makes sense. Wild. Okay.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to film around a bunch of mosquitoes and stuff either, so I get it.
Yep. This was Tyler Perry's 9th film in 5 years, which, if you know how long it takes to make movies, that's about 5 too many.
That's so many. That's so
That's
much.
so many.
Yes, that's insane.
This was the first Tyler Perry movie that was released in Japan.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Tasha Smith and Michael Jai White eventually got their own TV series called For Better or Worse in 2011, reprising their roles of Angela and Marcus from this film. If you think I'm not going to go binge watch that, I'm definitely going to go binge watch that later.
Right?
Yeah. One of the characters asks Janet Jackson why she always has to be in control. It's thought that this is a reference to her 1986 album titled Control, or could just be a line. Who knows?
I mean, it could be both.
Could be both. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a wee bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for Why Did I Get Married 2 in 2009?
They shot on location in the Bahamas and they had to get all these people together. This cost at least $40 million.
Ooh, Paige, I think you might be surprised to hear that this movie only cost $20 million.
That means people weren't getting paid enough.
Probably, yeah. But if you adjust that for inflation, that makes that $29.6 million, which is a crazy amount of inflation since 2009.
Sure.
But this movie came out on the weekend of April 2nd, 2010, and it was number 2 the weekend it came out. It got beat by Clash of the Titans, which was also in its first week of release. Number 2 was obviously Why Did I Get Married 2. Number 3 was How to Train Your Dragon. Number 4 was The Last Song. And number 5 was Alice in Wonderland. What do you think Why Did I Get Married 2 made in its opening weekend?
I'm going to say this probably made close to its budget back. I'm going to say $19 million.
Paige, it actually made $29.2 million.
It
definitely made its budget back and almost $10 million on top of it. It was number 4 in its second week, number 7th in its third week, and then fell out of the top 10. But it was in theaters for 10 weeks total. What do you think it made? And it made $735,000 internationally. So let's just, with that in mind, do worldwide. How much did it make worldwide? And it made way more domestically, obviously.
I'm going to say this probably made $92 million.
Okay. It actually made $60.8 million, Paige.
Okay.
Which, if you adjust for inflation, puts it somewhere around $90 million today.
Yeah. Just for some insight into my brain, typically movies will tend to make 3 times their opening weekend on their worldwide, but that's usually that's probably a wider worldwide release than this got.
Yeah, with only 735,000 internationally, it probably didn't get I don't have the specifics, but it probably didn't get a much of a release.
A full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is your box office. So this week, Paige, you made us watch Why Did I Get Married 2? And next week, because we had a certain guest reached out and I wanted to do a certain, let's just say, style of movie because of the guests that we will have. This movie is a movie featuring Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter, and John Goodman. And honestly, for a second, Audrey Hepburn. It's a movie called Always from 1989.
I'm actually very excited for this. So Always.
Paige, have you seen it?
I have never seen it.
Paige, I saw it a bunch as a kid because my dad had it on VHS. So when I would go there for the summers, we'd watch it a bunch because it was like one of the only movies he had that I could watch. I haven't seen it since I was probably 13. And here's my recollection of it. Richard Dreyfuss is a firefighter pilot and he dies. And he has to then help his widow fall in love with somebody else before he can get into heaven. And John Goodman is his like spirit guide for all of that.
I love bonkers movies like this. This is going to be great.
And the special guest is Eli from God Awful Movies. So I was like, we got to do a crazy sort of kind of religious sort of spiritual afterlife movie. So that's what we're doing. Anyway, your homework for next week is to watch Richard Dreyfuss and pretend like that's who you want to see as a romantic lead and then report back for that episode, guys.
All right.
So Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Sure. Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 on how romantic we found the movie today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being 365. Todd, how romantic did you find this movie today?
You said 10 being 365, and in my brain I heard 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's so funny to me. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 1 because we can't go negative, but it's not at all romantic. It is the opposite of the normal kind of movies we do here because no one, except for maybe Stella and Troy, should be together at the end of this movie.
You mean Sheila. Yeah, Sheila and Troy.
Sheila, sorry. Sheila and Troy. I had Streetcar Named Desire stuck in my head. I apologize. But yeah, a 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 as well.
Yeah.
And that's your romance scale.
Yeah.
So Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I did. And this week I'm going to read 2 Spotify comments from our most recent Obsessed episode, and I'm going to read 2 because David Smith and Hannah both had things to say about your Kyle theory.
Oh my God. Okay, tell me everything.
David Smith says this: I don't know why, but Paige is 100% correct about the Kyle thing. LOL.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now for a counterpoint from Hannah. Should have read this first. I'm on Paige's side. Kyle does not sound right on a baby. It's a name that fits people from the ages of 6 to 21. And I can't say you're wrong, Hannah. So 2 out of 2 Romancing the Pod listeners agree with you. It's 100%, Paige. Small sample size.
100%.
I'll admit to it. Small sample size. But it's still 100%. Agree with you.
I'm going to say new merch idea. Baby onesies that just say not Kyle.
Oh. Hello, my name is not Kyle.
Hello, my name is not Kyle.
Hell yeah. Paige. Here's the deal. They only come in onesie sizes, or the shirt is just a baby on the shirt with the
with the baby that says not Kyle.
And then the shirt also has one that says Kyle on it. So it says, hello, my name is Kyle on the It's a genius idea. It's terrible. I hate this idea. But yeah, either way, Paige, a lot of people were on your side with the whole Kyle debate.
Thank you. I appreciate your correctness.
I mean, it does look like no Kyles responded. So Kyles, if you're out there,
I don't think they exist.
Tell me. Now you don't think Kyles exist? I know a Kyle. Or wait, do I?
Or do you know a government drone and that's why COVID happened, so they could put batteries in all the Kyles? Didn't we have a guest that? Yeah, Kyle Shire was on here one time. But was he ever a baby? Who's to say?
You mean the government drone episode? But if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep. Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you, Kyle, pleat us to
cancer pletion. I'm going to spin the Tyler Perry's patented Wheel of Trauma nerds.